Welcome to Envisioned Broadcasting Radio. EB Radio. EB Radio. Your station for empowerment presents Mom Boss Talk Radio, a show that brings real life, real moms, and real experiences to empower mom bosses everywhere to be ambitious, highly driven, fierce, fabulous, and fearless. Mom Boss Talk Radio begins now.
Welcome, mom bosses all over the world. It's the fourth Thursday, and you guys know what that means. That means it's time for another great discussion with the mom bosses. We are so happy and excited that you are joining us this evening. This show is three mom bosses bringing you real life, real experiences to empower you as a mom boss. I am Jerisha Moore Smith, and I am the CEO and owner of Empower on Purpose and EB Radio, and mom of four.
And I am Monietta Hamilton. I am the owner of La Allure Couture, and I am the mom of two.
And I am Kiana Morgan, mom boss of Mental Massage LLC, owner and operator, mom of three. And this month, we're going to be talking about, well, not this month, but this show, we're going to be talking about our vision board party that we had back on the 13th of this month. I'm not sure how many of our listeners were able to join us or to go back and watch the replay. But if you haven't, I'm telling you, it was everything that you could expect and more. And definitely go check it out. Ladies, how has your vision board goals and aspirations been going so far, I guess, since our party on the 13th?
I think the party turned out amazing. It was a virtual online gathering. We were able to really dive into vision boards and really organizing our thoughts. And we came to a conclusion that vision boards are self-care. And I like that mantra due to the fact that if you really think about it, creating a vision board is beyond just putting things down on paper. You're organizing yourself. You're putting yourself first, your needs first, and putting that on a clear board. And no matter the size of the board, no matter how fancy you make it, it can be very simplistic. It can be over the top, whatever your heart desires. It doesn't matter how you create it. Just knowing that you did that and you implemented something, put something on paper, you should be proud of yourself. Now, mine turned out very well. It was very simplistic. I can say I went back to kindergarten with it, okay? I got the, the little glitter markers and everything, And my son, after I was finished, my son actually added his own little touches to it, which I was not aware of until after the fact. But regardless, he saw it, so I hope it was inspirational for my children as well. But I think overall, the party turned out great. My vision board, I look at it every day, and I'm reminded, okay, you're striving for something, you're doing something. There's a reason why you're doing the things you're doing. Keep pushing yourself. So it's very self-care oriented. It's very, self-deserving. So vision boards are awesome. What about you, Jerisha?
Yes. So I think we had such a blast at the vision board, the virtual vision board party in the Mom Boss Facebook group. It was so much fun. As I shared then, vision boards have been a part of my life, my goodness, for years. I can remember my first time even discovering it's one of those things where you come across something and it's like, oh my gosh, I need to find out more information. So what do? We go to Google. And so I went to Google and did some research, and I was like, I really need to find out what a vision board is, and so I can create it. And so I, created that first vision board, and that was years ago. And so here it is. I pulled out and we talked about this on the show, of course, that your vision board does not have to be, as Mayetta said in Kiana, it doesn't have to be just, this, extravagant board, and
Yeah.
you just have to put something, together that's going to represent your vision, your goals, and definitely what you're really wanting to manifest for your life. And so
Yeah.
here it was years ago. I pulled out, this huge board. It's almost like a cork board, bulletin board, however you want to look at it. Pulled this board out, and I said, I'm going to set up this board. This is going to be my first vision board. And I was so excited. You know how we get so proud about, those things, especially when you have a vision and goals for your business. Then I didn't have a business, but goals for your life, and you're cutting out pictures and, those images and from the magazines, and, I want to lose weight, and I want to have this particular car. I want this is my dream house, and all of that. And so, like I said, years ago, I started down the whole, vision board journey, and I have been, setting up my own vision board, creating a vision board ever since then. And it's been years. And what I will say is that, and I think that when you think about some of the, huge takeaways that, from our vision board party, I think there were so many. One, we had a blast, because that's what you have to do. You have to have fun. At the end of the day, you have to have fun. Mayetta shared that, creating our vision boards is all about self-care, and it's about having fun, So it's about fun and self-care. You have to have a blast, and you have to really celebrate yourself. Even if you're just starting your journey, you still have to celebrate yourself. And so probably, when I think about the takeaways from from our vision board party, and even now as we're going into the second quarter, for those that are out there thinking, you have your business, and it's like, wow, we are officially getting ready to, walk into the second quarter of this year. And, for me, there's so many other things that I can go into, and I may get into that here shortly. But that party, it was so amazing just to see, some of the different thoughts that were shared, some of the different insights. There were so many people that participated in it, whether from, tuning in on the live or just could see it afterward, that pulled some really amazing nuggets. And at the end of the day, as we shared, if you don't do anything with it, then, what is the point? You know what I'm saying? So, if you haven't created that vision board, if you haven't even written down your goals, now is the time to start doing that. What are we waiting for? I just mentioned that we're getting ready to roll into second quarter of 2021, which completely blows me away.
Yeah,
but
I know.
It was fun. Absolutely. So I would say that my biggest takeaway from the vision board was that it was a blast. I think we had so much fun just in doing the live and talking about our goals, and how each one of us, you can see the passion, when we talked about what is really important to us, and, really those things that we're wanting to manifest in our life. So fast forward to now, I'm still, like I said, I use vision boards. It's a part of, I have visualization in the morning. So it's a part of what I do from, day to day. It doesn't just stop with creating that vision board. You have to continue if you're wanting to manifest those things in your life. So it has been, it's been amazing. Yes. But I just mentioned, of course, that we're going into the second quarter, and which that means there's all kinds of goals that we're setting. What is one like big goal that you all have either set for yourself or even for your business, perhaps, that you absolutely said, okay, I have to add this, or have added it to your vision board?
Well, I'll start, because, and it's interesting that you asked that question, because I did my vision board, I'll say board, a little differently. I was wanting to be very intentional with matching the goals that I'm writing down to, correlate with my boards I created. So how I did mine, I did a vision board I pretty much created it the next quarter, that we have coming up, and things that are important to me that I want to achieve, maybe that I've been putting off. For one, getting a passport. And I will tell you why this is number one on my list, because everybody, well, I'll say several people in my close circle, everybody has their passport. And, everybody's talking about traveling. And I'm like, well, I can't go because I don't have my passport. And I'm like, I'm not going to say been putting it off, but I haven't made it a priority. Well, now it's a priority. So one of the top things on my list that I'm like, yes, I'm doing this. This has to be done. No excuses. And it's right up there on my board. What about you, Monyetta?
Well, for me, mine is a mixture of business and personal. One thing I'm doing is rebuilding my credit. And I think with that, it's very important to kind of get your finances in order to be able to do the things that you want to do. Before, I wasn't really smart enough or I was ignorant to credit. I wasn't, aware of how important it was. And then start doing research maybe about a year ago and looking into things. It's like, boy, I need to fix this. So, Now I hired someone who is a professional credit repair woman who is fantastic. She has done so much in a short amount of time, and she's continuously advocating for me to, rebuild and restructure, came up with a plan. So that's one thing I want to do, because good credit goes hand in hand personally and with business. Also, with, being more creative and stepping out of my comfort zone in a major way when it comes to my business, especially with marketing, and it's like, I know my weaknesses. So it's like, those are the things I put on my board. And it's like, okay, these are the things that you're not the strongest in. Let's figure out a way to make you stronger in these areas. And that's a good way for you to kind of get over fear, is if you create multiple vision boards and kind of categorize them. And it's like, okay, this is for the things that these are my weaknesses that I can build, or these are the personal things that I want to, accomplish. And these are the business things that I want to kind of, elevate. So you don't have to just do one, you can do multiple. And one takeaway that I think Jerisha had mentioned it in the, at the party, and definitely check that replay out. But she mentioned connecting your vision board with a journal. And so when she said that, it kind of clicked. It's like, okay, so you're writing details of what words you put on your vision board into a journal, and kind of explaining it more of what you want. I thought that was a genius idea. So that's something I'm going to implement with my vision board. So that way I can kind of break it down for myself, to kind of get myself organized, to get things checked off of my board. So that's my takeaway.
I love it. Y'all know this is like right up my street, and I absolutely love talking about goals and vision board. And I wish, the listeners could see what my big old smile on my face right now. You guys can hear it in my voice. Because, there's some things that I really want to talk more about, or just kind of point out that you both said. One, the fact that Kiana mentioned, having that passport. So something that she has absolutely been, kind of hanging, and she knows that that's something that she's absolutely wanting to get done. And she's finally said, okay, I'm going to absolutely get this done. I'm going to put it on my vision board so I can take those steps in order to, get that passport. Because at the end of the day, although, we're in the midst of a pandemic, we know that, people are starting to travel or have been traveling. And let's be clear, we are definitely planning a trip. So we want to make sure, she has her passport and is ready to go when it's time to go. So I love that.
That's right.
And then one of the things you said, Monyetta, that was really good was the fact that you recognized that you had to hire out. And I think that is so
Yeah.
important because I really feel like as entrepreneurs, even not even as entrepreneurs, just as moms, we wear so many hats that we just feel like we have to do it all and do it
Yeah.
all and wear this hat and figure things out. And it's great. Like I mentioned, Google is good. YouTube is good. But at the end of the day, when you recognize those things that you may not be strong in, it's so
Yeah.
important to be like, you know what? I am going to make a boss decision. I am going to make
Mhm.
an executive decision, and that
Yeah.
means I'm going to hire someone to take care of this for me. So I absolutely
Mhm.
love that. I would absolutely tell anyone that's out there listening that if make a list of those things that you definitely have been wanting to do and haven't had the time to get to it, and it's really important for your life and really you being able to level up. And then if it's something that you need to hire out for, go ahead
Yeah.
and make that decision. Don't allow fear to stop you from doing that. And then one of the other things that you
Mhm.
mentioned was connecting your vision board with the journal, which we know that is extremely important. It's really about those
Yeah.
action items. But I want to tell you ladies this because this I think it was last week. I was going to say this week, but I think it was last week. I was having a conversation with someone, and you know how you have those moments where it's like, the light bulb just all of a sudden goes off, and it's like, oh my gosh, that is really good. Like, that is brilliant. I need to write that down. I need to do this. I need to practice this in my own
Yeah.
life. So I want to share this with you both and then the whole world because it was one of those things. And if you already do this, then that's great. I just know for myself, I was like, okay, I am not doing this, but I am doing it effectively immediately. So when it comes down to the goals that we have in our lives, okay, so we all have those, we all have the tendencies to, procrastinate on some things, and we know how
Yeah.
we can, oh, I'm not gonna do that now. I'll put it off to tomorrow. Tomorrow turns into next week. Next week turns into,
Mhm.
a month from now. So I was talking to this person and it was shared that what she does is that when it comes down to any of those things that she absolutely needs to get done, you know how we're like, okay, I'm gonna celebrate. So we incentivize ourselves on if you get this done,
Yeah.
then you can, eat a bowl of ice cream or, go get your nails done. I don't know, whatever it
Uh-huh.
may be. But but what about having a consequence for not getting that
Oh.
thing done? And I was like, you know what? I
Ooh,
wanted to
that's a
high
Oh.
good one.
five. I wanted to jump up and down. I was like, you know what? You just said something because that is absolutely amazing. Who thinks about,
Yes.
oh, if I don't get this done, then guess what? This is the consequence. And the example that was given to me was, okay, I know I want to get up early in the morning. And so we talked about the 4 a.m., 5 a.m. But she gets up at 5 a.m. in the morning. And she said, if I don't get up at 5 a.m. in the morning, then there's a consequence that's attached to that. So she won't be able to, watch Netflix or whatever show it is that she likes to watch in the evening. And so she says that pushes her even more because the fact that she knows that she does, it's one of those things that it's very internal within yourself,
Yeah.
but I think it's brilliant and
Mm-hmm.
you can utilize it in so many different ways. So I have been using this for getting things done that I have a tendency to procrastinate on, like, okay, I need to get this done. So what is the consequence? Not just what's the, how am I going to reward myself, but what is the consequence that's
Mm-hmm.
attached to it? What do
That
you
is
ladies think
that is
about that? I thought it
that
was
that is genius. Let me just say that. That is genius. And where
well,
I would mess up is I would talk myself out of that consequence. That's the problem. So that would be my problem. So I would have to have my kids or my husband do the consequence because it's like I was like, it's okay. You didn't do it, but it's always a but. So I think that's
Mm-hmm.
genius. And if I do implement it, I would have to utilize my family to push the consequence.
yes.
Maybe like since it's getting, hot and I hate being outside, maybe go outside and they throw water balloons at me or something because I don't like that. So maybe something like that
Oh,
because, I know that I won't necessarily go through with the consequence. So I'm like, I'm gonna have to use my family to do it. But I love that. That is
Yes.
genius. I never thought
Yes.
about that.
I
well, and then
know.
look
Okay.
at it
It's
from
it's
the
a little thing.
perspective. look at it from the perspective of, especially as moms, we give our kids consequences all the time if they don't do their chores or if they don't do this or don't do that. And I think it's a great way to set an example of, for one, doing what you're supposed to be doing and completing these tasks. But, to show that adults face consequences too when they don't do, it doesn't stop as, you get older. There's still consequences that follow, once you hit adulthood when it comes to certain things. Maybe not, on the on that level of, as far as like illegal things, obviously there's those types, but, just everyday responsibilities, as kids or as an adult, these are the things that you have to get done. And if you don't do them, this is what happens. So I think it's just a fun, like you said, you're making it a fun way for one to involve your family, but two, that's something that you don't like. At least you were honest, like, no, I'm not going to punish myself. It sounds good, but I'm not going to punish myself. And so I'll let my kids do it.
They're going to love it.
Like I said, exactly.
They will, won't they? It becomes a family thing. Like, okay, so this is what mom's goals are. If it doesn't happen, I think it's a good consequence for me not completing the task that I need to get done. So,
definitely.
Love it.
For example, I've been trying to like, I want to start doing more TikToks, but I'm like, I'm not ready, or I didn't do this, or so I'm talking myself out of it. And so if I don't do it, that will be a consequence. I'll have them, throw water balloons or, maybe some whipped cream in the face. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm going to have to check back in with you because you're coming up with some good stuff. I definitely want to know what you end up, going with or what your kids come up with, because this is great. I'm loving it. Look, I'm like, can I be one of your kids? Like, I want to help punish you. No, I'm just kidding. No. Look, I want to call that. I want to be an accountability. Hey, air quote, I want to be an accountability coach for you.
Look, the consequences might end up being a TikTok. So,
right,
so,
definitely.
There
you go.
I love it. I thought it was just so good. So I was like, ooh, I have to share. You know how we have those insights that are shared. And I'm like, this is really good. So I would love, those that are listening, let us know what you think about, that. Let us know, if we said anything that really has resonated with you. Go to our Facebook group and, we would love to hear, more about it. Your comments, suggestions, questions, anything that you want to share. So this has truly, truly been amazing. It's always amazing. Before we close out, we definitely want to make sure we mention to everyone that's listening that we have a huge announcement. So we announced it at the Vision Board party, but we are actually going to 2 shows a month, and we're extremely excited about it. Yes, absolutely. So, we've had a great response from everyone that listens, and so we definitely think it's time. We certainly have many, many topics that we want to discuss with you all. And again, if you have a topic like, I would love to hear you guys talk about this or speak on this more. I think one of the things that that was mentioned tonight that I think we should definitely talk about in the future, and that is credit. When it comes down to, us just being moms, us being bosses, credit is so important. And I definitely think that all of our listeners would love to hear more about that. So it's been really, really amazing, ladies. Amazing. It's been so amazing. Yes. Is there anything else that you all want to add before we close out this evening?
Just to say, to say that definitely, check out our Facebook, and also to understand that doing vision boards, you're taking accountability, and that's a big, big thing. For me. So definitely, if you have a vision board or if you're thinking about creating a vision board, go onto our Facebook page and share it. Take a picture, share it, and we would love to see it. How about you, Kiana?
Oh, that's pretty much what I was going to say for those listeners who were on the vision board on our Zoom, or, the shares, get the boards up. I'm going to get mine posted, and so everybody can see what I came up with.
She took the words right out of your mouth.
I know. That was great. Thanks, Marietta.
Yes. You're welcome.
So, again, we're so happy that you tuned in tonight. We are Mom Bosses on a mission to empower moms all over the world. Mom Bosses, please remember to be ambitious, highly driven, fierce, fabulous, and fearless, because you are making moves and you got this. Until next time, stay safe and be blessed.
Thank you for joining us on Mom Boss Talk Radio. Follow each of the Mom Bosses on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. If you love Mom Boss Radio, visit the website at www.envisionedbroadcasting.com. We'd love for you to subscribe, rate, and give a review on iTunes. Until next time.